State ready to call its first witness?
Yes, sir. This time the state calls Deputy Sheriff William Mosley.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Morning, Deputy.
Good morning.
Please take a moment and introduce yourself to the jury and spell your full name for the record.
Deputy William R. Mosley, M-O-S-L-E-Y.
Okay. And Deputy Mosley, how are you currently employed?
Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office as a road patrol deputy.
How long have you been with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office?
With Sheriff's Office, 10 years.
And prior law enforcement experience?
14 years with the City of Lakewood Police Department, and 4 years prior to that with U.S. Army Assistant Military Police Patrol.
So all total your law enforcement experience is nearly 30 years?
28 years, yes.
Now, you were with the Lakewood Police Department. When did you come over to the Sheriff's Office?
2008.
And that wasn't due to a change in agency, that was due to the merging between the two agencies?
Yes, that's correct.
How long have you been a road patrol officer?
Probably 20-some years.
Okay. And the duties and responsibilities of a road patrol officer with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office are what?
Responding to calls for service, enforcing traffic laws as well as criminal laws.
And do you have any specific sector or part of the county which you patrol?
Yes, I do. That would be Royal Palm Beach, which is in District 9.
And does that include Waxahachie?
No, it does not.
Was there a time at which you were patrolling the area of Waxahachie, or is the incident that we're here to discuss, or did you just respond to a call?
I responded to a call.
And so the district, I think you said District 9 is Royal Palm Beach?
Yes.
Is that close in proximity to Waxahachie?
It borders on it, yes.
So I want to go back now to November the 17th, 2016. Did you respond to a call out for service at a 11612 East Glasgow Drive in Waxahachie?
Yes, I did.
All right. Can you tell us where you were when you received the call out?
Approximately Shuby Boulevard and Royal Palm Beach Boulevard.
And about how far away, just timing-wise, drive time, were you away from the Glasgow address?
I'd say probably 10 minutes.
And is that 10 minutes, like, lights and sirens, 10 minutes, or?
Lights and sirens.
All right. Now, 11612 East Glasgow Drive, that's in Waxahachie, is that Palm Beach County, Florida?
Yes, it is.
Did you know what you were responding to when you received the call out?
It was a report of a stabbing.
Okay. So when you got to the home, just tell us about what time of the day did you receive this call out?
About 12:30 in the morning, roughly.
Okay. So that would have been after midnight, so it would have been the early morning hours of November the 17th.
Yes.
When you arrived on scene, I guess, what type of dwelling or building was it?
A single-family residence on a large lot in Waxahachie.
Typical 1 acre or 1 plus acre lot that's in Waxahachie, Florida?
Yes.
All right. I'm approaching the witness now with what's in the pre-mark to states 1 through 5. And Deputy, I'd like you to take the look first at states 1 through 5.
No objection to entering into evidence, Your Honor.
You want to offer them at this time?
Yes, statements at this time will prove in evidence states 1 through 5.
So states 1 through 5 in evidence without objection.
All right, so you arrive on scene, and I'm going to publish at this time states 1. And if you can tell members of the jury what we see in states 1.
The front of the residence.
This is the residence which you arrived at 11612 address?
Yes, it is.
All right. And what are we looking at here? What part of the home?
the north side of the home that faces the roadway.
Right, this being, where I'm serving, right here being the front door?
Yes.
All right. So tell us, what did you observe just when you approached the residence, describe it for the jury?
As I arrived, there was a couple people outside. Sergeant Silver, my supervisor, arrived just before me.
Okay.
At that point, we approached the front door of the residence.
And when you approached the front door, did you have any idea what was inside the home? In other words, did you know if the assailant was still there, or what you were going to?
No, we did not at this point.
Was the front door open or closed?
It was open.
All right. So tell us how was it just you and Sergeant Silver?
Yes.
All right. Tell us how you proceeded.
We entered the residence, announced ourselves. We conducted what we call protective sweep from inside the residence for either armed persons that can harm us or the angle of the victim inside.
All right. Was there anybody inside that you encountered?
No, there was not.
All right. Tell us how you proceeded, and I think we're going to
Make a correction on that. There was eventually that we discovered on the inside was the victim.
a deceased victim, right? Anybody that responded to your knock-and-announce?
No.
So you entered the residence through the front door that we can see here, and where did you proceed once inside the residence?
Once inside the residence, we went out to the right and cleared several rooms that were over on that side. One room, I think it was a utility room, had two large dogs, German Shepherds inside, so we didn't actually enter that room.
Okay.
We cleared the rest of the house. We came to a front bedroom, which would have been on the left of the residence there, where we discovered the victim lying in a bed, and there was another subject that was performing chest compressions on him at that point.
All right. So you entered and turned right, you said there was a room with two large German Shepherds?
Yes. I don't remember the exact layout of the inside of the house, but I know we went to the right first, and then cleared several rooms, kitchen, and then so forth on that side. And then one of the rooms, which is the utility room, that had a couple dogs in it.
So now publishing states 2, when you arrived, so you found deceased. What photograph are we looking at here? Describe to the jury.
That would be the deceased laying on the floor,
Okay.
next to the bed itself.
Okay. And is that the position in which you found the deceased?
No, it is not.
How did you find the deceased?
He was laying on the bed, and there was another subject that was performing CPR on him.
Okay. So we see a bed here with a copious amount of what appears to be blood. He was actually laying in that bed?
Yes.
All right. So how did he get to the floor?
Myself and Sergeant Silver took him off the bed, and placed him on the floor to have a hard service and perform CPR on him.
Who started to perform CPR?
I did.
And how did you perform CPR on the subject?
Began chest compressions on him, but there was a large wound to the upper left part of his chest. And as I was conducting compressions on there was air escaping from that, so I had to seal that with my gloved left hand while I was performing compressions on with one hand on the chest.
Okay. You're able to touch the deceased at that time?
Yes.
Any description you can give us based on your touch of the victim?
Relatively cool to the touch. He wasn't warm.
Okay.
And no pulse, no respiration at that point. So no active bleeding at that point.
What about his skin color?
Pale.
Was he able to speak to you at any time?
No, it was not.
And you stated that you saw a rather large chest wound?
Yes.
All right. So while you're performing life-saving measures, I believe you said Sergeant Silver took over for you?
No, I continued the CPR.
Okay.
And he basically took whoever was performing CPR and went out of the room at that point.
Okay.
Once fire rescue arrived, and they relieved me.
What did you do once fire rescue relieved you?
I went outside and got with Deputy Padgett to assist him with the crime scene security.
Okay.
He basically took over that. I didn't really have much of a part of that. Went outside, decontaminated myself. I was covered in blood at that point. And then I was just assisted the outside perimeter of the security for a while, and I was instructed to, later on in the day, I actually left and I came back, and I was instructed to take a witness to another location.
Okay. Just briefly describe for us what it means to secure the crime scene and how that's done.
Well, this crime scene is roped off with crime scene tape, and we post someone on, usually on either front or the back, depending on the circumstances and how accessible it is, or on possibly all four corners, so make sure no one enters or leaves.
From the time that you entered the residence to the time fire rescue got there, did you observe anybody enter or leave the crime scene at any time? No, that was not law enforcement.
And so the fire rescue, other than fire rescue.
Fire rescue. Okay. Now you stated that you spoke with a secondary, that you spoke with an individual, I guess briefly later that evening, or just after you were relieved after you decontaminated yourself.
Yes. The only thing I spoke to him about was just to get this information from my report, and ask me any questions about what had occurred or anything else.
Okay.
I was instructed to take photographs of his person as well as his hands, looking for any kind of defensive wounds or anything like that on his hands. He had none. I photographed him and his hands, and then I transported him to an address in Green Acres.
All right. And the name of that individual, was that Mr. Jeffrey Jaroszewski?
Yes.
And was it in other states 3? Do you recognize this individual here?
Yes, sir.
Who's that?
That's Mr.
Jaroszewski.
Jones.
All right. And in states 4, this is a photograph also show sort of a full body shot of Mr. Jaroszewski.
Yes.
In states 5, you stated that Mr. Jaroszewski did have a large amount of blood on his hands.
Yes, he did.
And again, you didn't notice any defensive wounds, any sloping wounds, anything like that? Did Mr. Jaroszewski, was he cooperative with you?
Yes, he was.
Did he remain on scene? I mean, did he basically do as commanded to do?
Yes, he did.
Did he give you his contact information?
Yes, he did.
At any point, did Mr. Jaroszewski admit to you that he had committed a crime?
No, he did not.
Did everything you testified to here today take place in Palm Beach County, Florida?
Yes, he did.
I have no further questions at this time.
Cross-examination.
Good morning. Did you see the murder weapon?
I did see a knife. I don't know if it was a murder weapon itself. It was in the kitchen counter covered in blood.
You know how it got there?
No, I did not.
You're trained in CPR?
Yes, I am.
Why did you take the victim off the bed and put him on the floor?
Put him on a hard surface to perform chest compressions on him. Performing compressions on a mattress, which is springy, does very little good.
Okay. And as far as you know, the mother's boyfriend was doing these compressions on the victim in the bed prior to your arrival?
As far as I know, yes.
And that's kind of not effective, isn't it?
That's correct.
And anyone trained in CPR knows you got to go to the hard surface, right?
I would believe so, yes.
Nothing further.
Redirect.
No redirect.
You may step down, officer. Thank you. Stay ready to call sex witness.
This time the state calls Sergeant Aaron Silver.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Good morning, sir. please take a moment, turn to the jury, and introduce yourself, and spell your full name for the record.
My name is Sergeant Aaron Silver, SILVER, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office,
Sir, how long have you been with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office?
approximately 12 years.
And you are a sergeant?
Yes.
And what's that mean, just so we know?
I currently supervise, I'm a detective sergeant, I currently supervise a district level detective bureau in Royal Palm Beach.
And is that what part of the D bureau is that? Is it homicide, violent crime, robbery?
It's general assignment, primarily property crimes.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
About 2 years.
Prior to having that assignment, were you also a sergeant?
Yes.
Okay. And about the time that we're here to discuss, that being November the 17th, 2016, what was your assignment?
I was assigned to road patrol as a supervisor in the Royal Palm Beach area.
And would that be District 9?
Yes.
And I think we've heard from Deputy Mosley that District 9 did not encompass the area of Waxahachie, Florida.
That's correct.
On or about in the early morning hours of November the 17th, 2016, did you receive a call out to a 11612 East Glasgow Drive in Waxahachie, Florida?
Yes.
And what was the call out that you were responding to?
I was responding to that area, covering for the District 15 Waxahachie sergeant who was tied up on an accident with injuries. From what I recollect, the initial call came out as some type of stabbing incident in the area that you mentioned.
Okay. And my next question would be, I guess, why would you respond as a sergeant of Royal Palm to Waxahachie, that you would explain that? Where were you in the area of Royal Palm Beach when you responded to the area, the address at Glasgow Drive?
From what I remember, when I initially received the call, I was at the intersection of Big Blue Trace and Southern Boulevard.
Is that in the city of the village of Wellington?
I believe it's just outside in the Waxahachie area on Southern Boulevard.
I think I misspoke. The address you responded to was 16112 East Glasgow Drive. Are you familiar generally with that area in Waxahachie, the cross streets, things like that?
Some of the main intersections, yes.
Okay. This time the state refers to the states. Yes.
No objection to those photographs coming into evidence.
All right. So you offer him at this time, you want to identify them first?
The state would move into evidence at this time states 8 through 11. However, I would not move into evidence at this time 6 and 7 as they remain be just marked as ID for the moment.
All right, so there's no objection to 8, 9, 10, and 11, is that correct?
Correct.
So 8 through 11 in evidence without objection, 6 and 7 will be marked for ID only at this time.
I just want to look at states 6 for identification and ask if you recognize generally what this is.
Yes.
All right. Do you see the address 16112 Glasgow Drive, East residence on this that you responded to?
Yes.
All right. Do you recognize generally the cross streets and the directionality of this particular photograph?
Yeah, this side would be east, it would be towards the top of the page.
All right, so we mark that E, would that be correct?
Yes.
And so this would make this north.
Correct.
Again, looking at the eastern part of the residence, would this direction be east?
Yes.
So if I mark that, would that be correct?
Yes.
And that be north?
Yes, sir.
All right, at this time, I would move into evidence states 6 and 7 that were previously marked for ID as states 6 and 7.
Without objection.
6 and 7 in evidence without objection.
Look now at states 6, and with the east and north markings on the photograph. What does this map show the jury?
The icon that's noted 16112 Glasgow Drive is the residence involved with this specific incident.
This road here is this Glasgow Drive,
Yes.
and as you previously told us, this direction here, the arrow pointing upwards is the eastern direction.
That's correct.
How did you, which roads did you take in order to get to the address?
I do remember driving west on Okeechobee Boulevard.
Okay.
I don't remember what street I took from the initial location to go north to Okeechobee, but I do remember driving west on Okeechobee.
And can we see a part of Okeechobee Boulevard that's sort of right from the outside?
Yes, I believe that is Okeechobee.
And then did you come north on this side street and then take west down Glasgow Drive?
Yes, sir.
And again, looking at States 7. And can we see the edge, the eastern part of the Glasgow Drive address in this photograph?
Yes.
And as you've marked for us, this would be the eastern direction, and this would be the northern direction.
That's correct.
So would it be correct to say that you were traveling westbound on Glasgow and then came to the residence?
Yes, I actually stopped before the residence.
Okay.
Parked my car before and approached on foot.
And is that a common practice when you're approaching a potential crime scene?
It is.
Why do you stop in advance of the scene?
Just for safety, first and foremost. It's never a good idea to park in front of a residence in the event that there's some type of threat.
Okay.
And it's better for awareness to be able to approach on foot,
Okay.
to see what's going on.
So tell us, you parked your vehicle, and what did you see as you approached?
I had observed several subjects at the front of the residence.
And where were they standing?
They were standing somewhere about the front yard. I don't remember where exactly, but I was able to see them as I was approaching from the main road to Glasgow Drive east.
Okay, so just being in the front yard, were they generally somewhere in this area?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us how you approached.
Approached on foot. I do remember getting some updates over the radio. Specifics I cannot recall. Awaiting backup to arrive. There was a brief dialogue with the people at the front of the residence where surmised that there was somebody that was in distress inside. So I responded to the interior of the residence with Deputy Mosley to render aid and to figure out what exactly was going on. We're taking a lot of information in through the radio, through dispatch, through our observations, and through what people were telling us. Went into the interior of the residence. There was a hallway, and there appeared to be blood spattered on the wall or on the floor area to the hallway.
And if you look at States 8, what do we see in States 8?
Okay, so
And if you need to get down and point to the photograph, you're able to do that too. There's a pointer actually right there.
Make sure there's a microphone there so it gets picked up. Record, please.
So we entered the residence. This is the hallway to the left. And then I observed blood spatter along the wall, on the floor. We followed the blood spatter down the hallway this direction. And then we encountered an individual inside the bedroom, two individuals inside the bedroom. One appeared to be rendering aid to the decedent who was lying on the mattress.
Showing States 9. What does this photograph show? Sort of a different vantage point.
You can see more clearly the blood spatter that we observed when we entered the residence, and then you can see also on the wall.
And States 10. What vantage point are we viewing again? What are we seeing?
More blood spatter, and trying to orientate myself here. I believe the kitchen is over here.
Let's do this. Let's use for orientation purposes. I think we can see the States 9. Down at the bottom here, there appears to be sort of a table,
Yes.
and which has some type of dog bowl.
Okay.
All right. So now if we go to States 10 using that same orientation.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the hallway that we traveled down where we went into the bedroom.
Once you got to the bedroom, were you the first officer in the bedroom?
I don't remember if I was or if Mosley was in front of me, but it was pretty much at the same time.
And looking at States 2 already in the evidence, is this what you encountered when you entered the bedroom?
The decedent was up on the bed at the time, and there was another male in there, appeared to be emotionally distraught, and he was attempting to render aid to the person.
Okay.
did you assist in Deputy Mosley in bringing this individual to the floor?
At first, Deputy Mosley attempted to do chest compressions, which were not as effective being under the person on the mattress. So then, yes, I helped him move him down to the floor where Deputy Mosley attempted to render a exam.
Okay. Did you at any point the individual say anything? Was he able to speak, able to communicate with you? When I say the individual, I mean the deceased.
No.
While Deputy Mosley attempted to render aid, did you stay in the bedroom or did you have another role?
I did. I stayed in the bedroom because at that point, we're still getting all the information, trying to ascertain what exactly happened, and we didn't know if there was a possible suspect still inside. So we had a lot of things going on. So I not only had to pay attention to what was going on, relay the information, but I also had to watch the scene to ensure that there was nothing that was going to harm us.
Okay, so Deputy Mosley is engaged with a person in distress or a deceased person. Might he be vulnerable if his attention is focused on the deceased? So are you essentially ensuring your safety and his safety?
Yes.
At some point, did you travel outside of the bedroom and begin to look around or try to secure the residence?
I did.
Tell us about that.
To do a check of the area to ensure that first and foremost, that there wasn't anybody else that was injured or in distress, and also to identify any potential threats or suspects. We did a safety check of the interior of the residence. The only obstacle, from what I recollect, that we did encounter is that there was 2 large dogs in one of the rooms. From what I remember, on the other side of the residence, in the interior, that I had to summon a canine officer to respond to assist with removing the dogs, so we could make sure that area was safe also.
Okay.
Were there any intruders or anybody inside the home that you were able to discover?
No.
Did you discover, however, a piece of potentially relevant evidence during your sweep of the interior looking at State's 8?
I did.
And what did you discover?
On the kitchen counter, right here, I did not see this when I was initially walking in. When I was walking out, when we were checking the residence, I saw a large knife right here with a white handle that had blood on the blade.
You better take your seats up.
Polishing State's 11, and what does State's 11 show?
That shows the knife that I had observed on the kitchen counter by the hallway when we walked out.
No objection to the next company's evidence, Your Honor.
You can identify it when you move it in. I'll move it in without justice.
We're going to identify this judge as State's 12, and at this time I would move State's 12 of evidence.
Without objection, apparently, is that correct, Mr. Lane?
Correct.
States 12 in evidence without objection.
So is this it's been moved into evidence at this time, sir, is this the large knife that you saw on the kitchen counter there?
Yes.
Did you do anything with respect to that knife other than identify it and basically let detectives or crime scene know that you found it there?
I didn't touch it. I just advised the
Mr. Publish?
You may publish.
Madam Clerk, I apologize. This is the card. Now, did you collect the knife yourself? Was that your role, or is that the role of another law enforcement individual?
It would be the role of another individual in the sheriff's office.
Was the scene secured? Did you allow anybody other than CSI to touch that knife, move that knife, do anything with that knife?
No. The scene was secure, and I didn't allow anybody else to touch the knife.
Did you interview any witnesses? Was that your primary role?
No, my primary role is to ensure the security, the integrity of the crime scene, make proper notifications, make sure manpower issues are addressed, and wait for a violent crimes detective to show up where I brief them on what we had observed.
And does the totality of your involvement did it occur in Palm Beach County, Florida?
Yes.
And have we discussed the totality of your involvement in this case?
Sure. So that position.
Right, exactly. All right, no further questions, thank you.
Cross-examination?
No problem.
You may step down. Counsel, can you approach for just 1 minute?
Say you're ready to call the next witness.
Yes, state will call Lieutenant Stamm.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Stamm. If you would please introduce yourself to the jurors and spell your last name for the record.
My name is Johnathan Stamm, S-T-A-M-M. I am a lieutenant of Palm Beach County Fire Rescue.
How long have you been with fire rescue?
I've been with Fire Rescue, I'm in my 14th year now.
Now, in relation to being with fire rescue, you're a lieutenant, what are your duties and responsibilities?
Duties and responsibilities to supervise the crew, supervise the care of patients.
And in order to, although you're supervising the care, do you yourself have medical training in regards to being a first responder to provide aid to any patient?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
What is your medical experience in relation to, are you a medic?
Yes, ma'am, I am a paramedic.
Now, in relation to a paramedic, is that your role in the 14 years? I know you're now a lieutenant, but for the 14 years, have you served as a paramedic with Palm Beach County Fire Rescue?
Yes, ma'am.
In relation to your duties as a fire medic and a lieutenant, do you respond to calls for service both on your own as well as some cases that may involve also responding with police?
Yes,
or
ma'am.
at the same time? In relation to your contact with law enforcement, is there a certain type of procedure that's handled before you go onto a scene if there is criminal act, if there's an act of crime that is possible?
It would depend on the actual type of crime itself.
Now, in relation to, I want to talk to you about a call that on the early morning hours of November 17, 2016. Did you respond to an address of 16112 Glasgow Drive in Waxahachie, Florida?
I do not know what the address was. If I had a report, I could tell you yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm approaching you with that copy of an additional copy of your Palm Beach County Fire Rescue report. Is that the report that you're referring to in relation to the exact time and the exact address?
It appears to be the report. I see the address, yes.
And in relation to those situations, it's a typical when fire rescue responds, that a report will be generated at that time period as to the specific address, specific timing of responding to a call.
The report
or that you will enter information?
I will enter information into a report, yes, ma'am, and depending on what kind of call it is, or whether it's happening at the same time, or if I'm having to take care of patients, the report might be delayed just a little bit, but it's usually done before I'm clearing the call.
Now, in relation to this call that on Glasgow Drive, is in that call, was it right before, when you got the call, right before the 1 o'clock in the morning hour of November 17th of 2016?
Was this particular call before 1 o'clock?
Yes, around that time period.
I apologize, I'm looking for the times here. It appears I was dispatched at 0052 on 11/17.
Now, when you're dispatched, do you actually go and respond to that location?
Yes, ma'am.
When you respond to that location, I know you said about being a lieutenant and supervising a team, does your team include other paramedics that respond on scene as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in relation to this particular scene, was law enforcement already present? Was law enforcement also involved in?
Law enforcement was on scene prior to me arriving to the scene? Yes.
And in relation to your involvement before going into the residence, did law enforcement indicate to you that there was an appropriate time for you and your team to go into assess the patient?
We were advised through our dispatch system that the scene was clear and safe for us to go into.
And once you got that, that the scene was safe and clear for you to go inside, did you and your team go inside to attempt to render aid to an individual?
Yes, ma'am.
When you did that, was an individual from the sheriff's office, a deputy already responding, already providing CPR or compression to the individual?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Now, in relation to your, once you see that, do you as the paramedics then take over in assessing the patient?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the typical protocol or how you do assessing an individual? What do you do?
First of all, we check the responsiveness of our patient. If there's no response, then we're obviously checking for signs of life, pulses, breathing, things of that nature.
Now, this individual that had been treated by the deputy before you, when you made assessments for those different pulse, breathing, what were the responses of the patient?
According to my report, the patient was pulseless and apnea, which means not breathing.
And in relation to that, when you see the patient isn't breathing, do you see any signs of life that allow you to continue rendering aid to the patient?
I saw, we have protocols in which we don't actually start resuscitation process.
Now, in relation, and is that because of the pulse and the breathing that you described?
Pulse and the breathing, mechanism of injury, signs of incompatible with life, yes, ma'am.
And so you say scientifically incompatible with life?
Signs.
Oh, signs.
Signs of
Sorry.
incompatibility with life, yes, ma'am.
So based on what you saw, there was nothing that you could do to assist the patient?
Correct.
And in addition to the patient himself, did you see a large amount of blood around where the patient was?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you also see that on your entry into the bedroom where you had the patient?
I believe I recall in my report that I saw blood on the walls as I was going down the hallway to reduce rooms.
And the same around where the patient was?
There was blood around the patient.
I do not have any further questions of Lieutenant Stamm.
Cross-examination.
No questions, Your Honor.
You may step down. All right, members, we'll go ahead and take our lunch break at this time before we start another witness. Typically, the lunch break is about an hour and 15, actually about an hour and 20 for this lunch break. I'm going to get you back here at 1:30, so you're back at 1:30. Reminder, please do not discuss the case yourselves forward to the please do not do research with respect to the case. Please do not listen to or read the news account. With that said, we're going to release you for lunch. We'll see you back there at 1:30. You don't have to do a lot of
there additional objections I'm going to need to rule on with respect to the statement itself?
None that have been approached to myself, so that's why.
In other words, did you review it, and in addition to, I know you had a motion to suppress, but in addition to that, any specific statements that there are independent bases that you want to challenge that you haven't identified from Ms. Godwin?
Without waiving the motion to suppress, there's no revision.
Okay, so we'll have the redactions done, you'll,
Yes, it'll be easier because we're just stopping.
you're
the
stopping.
same.
Okay, well, that is easy, okay.
So we can have that out.
Okay, then we'll be recessed until 1:30.
Thank you.